Okay, guys, so we have the test tomorrow, and I know in first period we got to number 14, and the rest of our classes we got a little bit after that, but I'm going to start at 14. It's not going to hurt you to go back and review that. So number 14 says, which mapping best represents the function y equals 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 when the replacement for x is -1, 0, 3. So there's two ways you could do this. You could take each x value they give you and plug them in and see what your y would be. For instance, y, if x was -1, you would say 2 times -1 squared plus 5 times -1 plus 3. So that would be -1 squared is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2, okay? 5 times -1 is -5, so 2 plus -5, and then plus 3. So 2 plus -5 is -3, plus 3 is 0. So at -1, your y is 0. Okay, so look, it can't be A because that says 4. It can be B. It can't be C because that's not even the x values they gave you. And it can't be D. So right there we know it's B. But let me show you a really fast way to do that without even having to do calculations. You turn on your calculators and go to y equals. You can put that function into your calculators, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, and then go to the table. Then you could see at -1 it's supposed to be 0, at 0 it's supposed to be 3, and at 3 it's supposed to be 36. So -1, 0, 0, 3, 3, 36. So that is for sure B. Okay, number 15. All they want you to do on 15 is to sketch the quadratic parent function. So that's just y equals x squared. You can put that in your calculator, but you would see it looks like this. So your line of symmetry goes right there on the y-axis at x equals 0, and it's positive, so it flips up. Number 16. Okay, please pay attention. Fourth period. I told you to skip this one, but it's really easy, so we're going to do it. Okay, so the way you do this one is, it says, given the function f of x is x squared minus 6, this is your domain. They want to know what the range is. So guys, did you know that if they give you the domain and the function, you can plug in what they gave you as x values in the domain to get the range? To get the range. So if they say the domain is -1 to 4, so plug in a -1 first. So -1 squared minus 6. So that would be 1 minus 6. That's going to be a -5. Okay, so -5 is your first number. And then 4 would be 4 squared minus 6. This is 16 minus 6 equals 10. That's your second number. So then you just need to put your y in between, and it's always less than or equal to. That is your range. Isn't that super easy? You just have to know, you just have to plug in what they gave you. Okay, number 17 we are going to skip. What you would do is you would plot these points in a graph. If you're curious to know. You would plot those points in a graph. And then you could also make a table. So at -1 it was 6. I'm sorry. -1 it's 6, 0 it's 1, 1 it's 0, 2 is 3, and 3 it's 10. Okay, you could plot that. And you could figure out, if you were to put this into the calculator, you figure out what your graph looks like, and it would be 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. Okay, so you could do that by doing stat, edit, no stat calc, stat, edit, yeah, L1 and L2. And your L1s are your X's and your L2s are your Y's, and you can just plot that. Okay, so we're not doing that because it's not necessary for tomorrow. It is something that we're going to need to go over again for the EOC, but for tomorrow it's not necessary. So number 17, you don't need to know. Number 18, the following function s of t, so same thing as y equals, is negative 16 x squared. You can rewrite this plus 128x. So t is measured in feet. Models the distance an object is above the ground after t seconds. So that's your time. And that's going to be your x values. When it's projected directly upward from the ground with an initial velocity of 128 feet per second. 3 points are labeled on the graph in this function below. 1, 2, 3. Explain the significance of 4.4, 256. So your x value is 4 and 256 in terms of the problem situation. So this is what it is. What do we call this point? Well, that's going to be our vertex. And that is also the maximum point on the parabola. It's the highest point. So what is happening here? This is your x-axis is time in seconds. And this is your distance in feet. Okay. So that's your y, because it says s of t, which is your y, is measured in feet. Okay. So in 4 seconds time, it has traveled 256 feet. So at 4 seconds, the object moved 256 feet on the ground. Is that what it's saying? Well, let's look back at the problem. It's projected directly upward from the ground with its initial velocity of 128%. So it's like, it hits here and then it comes back down. Do you see that? Okay, so at 4 seconds, it's moved on the ground? No, it's not on the ground. It's off the ground. So it can't be F. At 256 seconds, no, it's not 256 seconds, it's 256 feet, so it's not G or H. At 4 seconds, the object is 256 feet above the ground. Yes. Okay. And then what is the line of symmetry for the parent function of a quadratic? Okay, so that's a different one. We'll just sketch that. Remember, y equals x squared. So the line of symmetry is going to be right there in the middle. And that is x equals 0 on your y-axis. That's the answer. Number 20. 2 problems left. 20 says the graph below shows the profit for Rick's Running Shoe Company. So Rick's Running Shoe Company. How many shoes should Rick's Running Shoe Company produce in order to have a maximum profit? This is your maximum right here. That's the tallest it's going to get. So how many numbers of shoes are we going to need to produce? G, 20. Because it was at G. Oh wait, no, that's not right. How many shoes, it says. How many shoes is this right here? So if you go to number of shoes, it's 15. 15,000 shoes. Oh, shoes in thousands. So 15,000. H. Uh, 21, the graph below represents the parent function, y equals x squared. Which graph best illustrates the graph of this function? Okay, we have to see what's going on here. Well, it's going to be negative, so it's going to be down. Pointed down because of the negative number. It is a fraction. So fractions tell us it's going to be wide, and plus 3 tells us that it's going to be shifting upward. Shift up 3. Shifts up 3. Okay? So, it's pointed down, it's wide, and it shifts up 3. Pointed down. All of them are pointed down except for C, so it's not C. It's wide. That's not wide. Oh, D is pointed up too. And it's shifted up 3, so it's this one. It's wider. Alright? Okay, remember to get these signed for tomorrow, and you can get 5 points on your test. Please, 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 please look over a review. Make sure you're good with how to answer all of it. You can come to tutorials in the morning for any questions. Have a good night.